me again, and tonight we're going to be having this for tea. So we're going to be having beef and bean chili con carne, which is a Slimming World recipe, and it serves 4, but I'm just going to do it for 2, so I shall half it. Cooking time is 35 minutes, and it is an SP, so extra easy, and it is free, so that's even better. So I have got all my ingredients here, plus a few extra ones. Does anybody have one of these? I've got one of these, and I keep all my, you see, I keep all my spices in there. There's a reason why I do that. It's because my husband moans about the smell of spices. He says, "Oh, those spices stink." So yeah, so I bought this where you can do that with the sides, and it does actually keep all the smelling, because they do. I mean, yeah, you open the cupboard and it's like, so yeah, but yeah, quite a good idea. If you've got the room, that is, to chuck that in the cupboard. So moving on, I have got passata, tomatoes chopped, kidney beans, baked beans. I quite like baked beans in it. I've got some Lynn Perrin Worcestershire sauce, some salt, a beef stock pot, some tomato puree, a red onion, a red chilli, 3 cloves of garlic, some 5% fat steak mince. Did I say mushrooms? Mushrooms. And then my spices that I have are paprika, coriander and cinnamon, cumin and chilies. And I have got some brown rice, which I will make. I have got a recipe on another one of my videos showing you how to make the perfect rice, foolproof. So literally put it in boiling water, about that much water. Put the lid on, bring it up to boil, let it boil for a minute or so, turn it off, leave it on the hob, and 20 minutes later all the water's evaporated and you've got lovely fluffy rice. So I won't show you how to make that because it's a bit boring, isn't it, when I've got a video and you can already look at that. So I'm hoping that there'll be enough left over for tomorrow, and I've got some, if need be, I've got a packet of this, and what I'll do is mix it with some of the plain rice. So I'll make a little bit more tonight so that we can have that. I've got my frying pan, which I don't bother to spray light because I feel with the mince you don't need it. And I've got my saucepan, which I'll be doing my rice in. So that's it for now. So I shall prepare my onion and my garlic, and I shall put in the mince into my frying pan and get that started, and then I'll come back to you. I'm just going to show you quickly, for those that haven't seen it, that is my water. Can you see? So there's hardly any in there. I've got the pan on high with the lid on. So I'm just going to, I put boiling water in there, so I'm just going to bring that to the boil, and then I'll be adding my rice. I've got my mince on, which is now browning in my saucepan. And I've just halfway through chopping my onion, but I thought I'd show you how much water I put into the rice before I actually pour the rice in. So I'm just going to pour my rice in. This is for 2 people. I mean, I can judge it by eye, I know what I want, but I think if you haven't done it before, then the best thing to do, obviously give that a stir. And then the best thing to do is it's half a cup per person. So pop the lid back on and let it stay on there now until it comes up to boil. Leave it for about a minute, so as long as you can leave it for before it boils over with the lid on. So leave it for a good minute if you can, and then literally turn it off, but leave it on the heat for 20 minutes. So I've got my trusty helper here. Can you see her? You can just about see her. She was watching me yesterday. I was making, I had some chilies out for some reason. I was chopping them up, and I put them back in the fridge, and I dropped one. Anyway, she picked it up and ran off to her bed, and I thought, oh, and I had some green beans in my hand. I thought, oh, did she get the green bean, or did I drop a chilli? It was a chilli. So to quickly take it off her, and she was like, so I gave her about that much natural yogurt in a dog food bowl. She was alright after that. But yeah, serves you right, wouldn't it, for nicking stuff. She'll pick stuff off the floor. So I'm going to add my red onions now. They're going in. And then I have peeled my 3 garlic, and they are going in a minute. I will crush those because there's nothing worse, I think, than having a great big lump of garlic. I don't like that, personally. So stir the onion in. Turn it down. So I've now got it on number 3. So my rice is still on, and it is literally steaming. Can you see that? So it is pretty much, I know it's pretty much time now to turn it off. So I've turned it off, left it on with the lid on, and I'll leave that for 20 minutes. So I should put the timer on because I've got terrible memory. There we go. Right, so next thing is to chop my chilli. I have de-seeded this one because it's quite a big chilli, and so I'm going to chop that up, and I'm going to chop my mushrooms up, and I shall pop those in, and I shall be back in a minute. As soon as I start chopping stuff, she comes running back in. Such an idiot. So I've got my chillies in, and I've got my onions in. I'm just now putting my garlic in, which I'm pressing. I've got 3 of these, as I said, so give those a squeeze in. Get rid of this. Then I've got my mushrooms, so I'm going to be using probably, quite like mushrooms, so maybe 7 little mushrooms. Slice those up, quite chunky, because I don't really put a lot of veg in, so to speak, into the chilli, so it's quite nice to have some chunky mushrooms in there. My chopping skills, not the best, but I get there. Well, sort of. Dropping it. So, there we go. Let's give that a stir. So this is still a dry, what I call a dry mix. I haven't added any wet ingredients yet, but I soon will. So I'll just show you. So there we go. That's what we've got so far. So to that, I could do a tip in that, couldn't I? Is that better? Oh, that's better. Is that better? Don't need to see me, do you? Right, so to that I am going to be adding some Worcestershire sauce. Now you can put this, I haven't got much in it, so I've got the other bottle. I think that's pretty much it. This is to taste, I would say. I mean, I love Worcestershire sauce, so you put in what you like, how much you like. So that's those going in. I'm going to have to open some of these tins, because you'd think in this day and age, wouldn't you, that tins would all tins would have wrinkles, but they don't, unfortunately. You still have to use the old-fashioned can opener. So, baked beans. I'm not putting a whole tin of baked beans in. I'm just going to put in half a tin. So they go in. Then I've got my red kidney beans. Now these are in a chilli sauce. You can get plain ones or you can get them in a chilli sauce. And I'm just going to put in half a tin. And then a can of tomatoes. And these have already been chopped. I'm putting in the whole tin of those. Then passata, lost my scissors. Where have they gone? Oh, here they are. So I've got my passata. I'm not going to put in a whole one because I think it makes it too wet. So I'm just going to give 1, 2, 3 glugs, squidges. Some tomato puree. Give that a good squish. I would say a good dessert spoon. Some salt. Just a couple of pinches, that'll be enough. That's a good one. Right, let's give that a bit of a stir around. Now I always think a chili con carne is nicer the next day when you warm it up. I mean, it's nice, don't get me wrong, but I always think it just, the flavours just permeate into all the mushrooms, and it's just, you know, personally, I like it the next day. Right, so I've got my stock pot beef, and that's just going to make that mince taste all the more beefy and yummy and rich. So that's that. So I'm just putting that in whole. It's like a jelly. Give that a little stir down to the bottom and cover it over. And then I'm going to start putting in my spices. So, what do they recommend? Okay. So, I'm not going to put in too many chilli flakes because I've got my whole chilli in. I'm just going to put a sprinkle. I've got my whole chilli in, red chilli, which I did de-seed, but my kidney beans have also in a chilli sauce. So, you know, it's going to be a bit mind-blowing if I'm not careful. Right, so I'm now going to put in my cumin. I haven't got a teaspoon ready. If you've seen my other videos, you'll see that I've got the stupidest teaspoons in the world that don't fit in here. And this weekend, I'm going to purchase some of these spoons. Right, so cumin. How much do I need of cumin? Teaspoon. Cinnamon. 1 teaspoon. Make sure you put the tops back on the right spice. Coriander. Teaspoon. And paprika. We want, what do we want? Where are you? A teaspoon. What of everything? It's simple, isn't it? There. Right, so give that all a little mix into the chilli. Now I would say cook that down for 5 minutes and then give it a taste. I mean, you must always taste your food. It's very easy when you're working from a recipe to just continue through and dish up and then not even actually taste it. So, you know, just because the recipe says it's this, this, this and this, that might not be for your liking. You might not actually want so much chilli in it or so much pepper in it. So you must taste it. So that's had a good stir. I always think a chilli. I always think a chilli should be a thicker consistency than a pasta. So a bolognese. So a bolognese mixed in with dried pasta when you cook it. I always think that's can be a little bit looser in consistency, whereas a chilli, if you're going to put it on a jacket potato maybe, or if you're going to put it on rice, I think that needs to be thicker. I think it's also quite nice if you put it in some big, you know, cos lettuce. If you get, I don't think they're out at the moment. I haven't seen them. What I see at the moment is bags of lettuce, not actual, you know. But the nice cos lettuce, when it's really crunchy, that's really good. And to put some of your cheese, sprinkle some of that on top from your cheese option, from your A. If you want to use that, that's quite nice. And if you haven't got sour cream, I always put natural yoghurt on top of mine with a bit of black pepper. So that's really nice. So that's what I'll be doing tonight as well. I'll be putting some natural yoghurt on there with some black pepper. So that would be nice. What I don't do, I'm just going to turn this back up to 4, just to bring it back up to heat. What I don't do is put a lid on. The reason being that underneath the lid it becomes quite wet, and then when you take it off, the water will go into the food, and it just makes the chilli a little bit loose, and I prefer it to be thicker, as I just said. So I don't put a lid on, I just leave it open to cook down, and to sort of get all those chilies and the garlic and everything cooking down. I would say you need to cook this now for as long as possible. I mean, if you could cook it for an hour, that would be lovely. But equally, you can cook it for half an hour, and that'll be enough to get and eat it. So yeah, so I'm going to cook it down, and I will be back to you once it's all done, and I'm dishing up. Okay, so I've just had a taste of it, and it's quite mild actually. I'm quite surprised with all the chili. Sorry, wobbling about with all the chilies that I've put in there. I'm going to put a little bit more black pepper. I'm going to pop some of that in, and I'm going to chuck in some mild chili powder that I've got in the cupboard. I had, no, I'm going to use this one. This one doesn't look too great actually. It's been hanging around a while. I'll chuck that out. I'll put some of this in. It's a hot chili powder. So I'm going to put in a sprinkling of that. There. Let that cook in a little bit and then give it another taste. Because I always think when you put spices in, you need to wait a little while for them to really take a hold. Otherwise, if I taste this now, it won't give me the true flavour. I need to give it 5 minutes at least, and I'll get the true flavour from the spice that I've just put in, to the temperature, to the heat that I'm looking for. So I'll come back in a minute. Hiya, so I've got my rice and I've put it in my bowl. This is going to be mine. Jason's out at the moment, so I'm going to dish mine up and he'll have his later. So there's the chilli mix. You can see it's quite rich looking, and it's not sloppy. It's not too thick, but it's, you know, it's still a bit juicy. But yeah, there's a nice richness to it. So I'm just going to put myself a couple of ladles in here. It's plenty. And then with the remainder of the rice, I added that packet of rice which I showed you, and there's so much chilli here. There's plenty for Jason and I for lunch tomorrow to take to work. I'm just popping the microwave with a bit of chilli on top. That'll be rather tasty. So I'm just going to get a little bit of cheese, quite literally, and I'm going to grate it on the fine grate. Because then you feel like you're getting more. So that's that. And I'm going to add a dessert spoon of yoghurt, natural yoghurt. And to that I'm going to add a little bit of chili flakes. Just a little sprinkle of those. And there we go, there we have it, chili con carne. Just give the plate a little wipe over, clean it up. Pretty quick and simple. From start to finish, you can have this on the table in about 40 minutes, with sort of 30 minutes cooking time and 10 minutes prep maybe for the first bit. But there you go. There's my chili con carne with rice. I hope you give it a go. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I've got lots of other videos, so if you want to have a look at those, feel free to catch up on my my YouTube channel. And yeah, I'll see you again soon. Bye then.